In today's energy markets, I want to focus on WTI. We saw WTI bouncing today after last Friday's big sell-off to close out November. We saw WTI bouncing a little bit today, up better than 1%. Currently right around the 55.90 level. It is interesting, though, that even though we did see that big selling pressure in the crude space last Friday, that for the month of November, WTI actually closed up about 1.7% on the month. So even though it gave up a lot of ground on the last day of trading in November, we are seeing it up for the month of November, and now we're seeing it continuing a little bit of a reversal here to start December with some buying pressure. When you look at the driving factors, I think you got to look at the narratives that are in the market, and the storylines are going to persist this week in the market, and it's OPEC and OPEC plus. OPEC plus including some of the extra countries, primarily Russia being the big player there. And we have a lot of talk this week. We have a big meeting at the end of the week in the OPEC consortium. So when you look at the narratives today, I think part of the driving factor is why we saw WTI bounce a little bit today was the fact that we continue to see some upheaval in Iraq, and there's some uncertainty as far as the Iraqi situation. Some ministers, some representatives to OPEC. We had one resign over the weekend, and now there's some talk of some uncertainty there heading into this meeting. Couple that with Russia, again, indicating that they may or may not go along with further cuts or extensions and deeper cuts as they meet later this week. That's another reason why I think we saw the weakness at the end of the month in November. Now that's being toned down a little bit to start this week. So again, that's something to be focused on when you look at the crude space. And I also want to point out that when you look at Saudi Arabia, now they have made it very clear that they're going to push for extending the cuts and possibly even increasing the cuts at this meeting that takes place this Thursday and Friday. And so again, that's another factor being priced into today. And also we got the Saudi Arabia Aramco IPO pricing. That's going to take place on Thursday. They're going to set the price for that IPO on Thursday. That's the first day of the meetings for OPEC. And so that's another factor that the market's considering as we move towards that Thursday threshold. Looking at the trends, I think you got to look at, again, WTI. We were able to hold 55 here. Now that's, we were able to do that twice in November. We continue to see, the crude space showing a little bit of some signs of, attempting to rally. We did see WTI up 3 out of the last 4 weeks. Now last week being the outlier, but it gave up a lot of ground. And when you look at from a technical standpoint, I think we're threatening here to break this recent uptrend, but we still haven't had a significant breach. And if we can see WTI hold on to this 55 level and reclaim 56 here in short order, that it's not going to be too much technical damage when you look at it from a chart perspective. Now, if we close below 55, that would certainly reverse the last month's rally that we've seen in the crude space, and that could put it in more in a jeopardy, I should say, of breaking down even further if it gets some disappointing news coming out of the meeting later this week.